I really wasn't asking about 21st century skills. I was talking about educational skills, period. You know, not how well can they use their computers. My bigger emphasis is, are our students progressing? And yes, it's nice that they are tech savvy, but you also have to have some common sense and basic skills. In fact, one of the classes I took recently, they were talking about critical thinking, and they kind of changed it to say, well, you really have to have the basics before you can get on to higher levels of critical thinking. You have to know your material well enough, know your tools, before you can ever get to that point of making critical thinking statements.
Well, you have to remember, Paul, that the 21C skills are starting right down in the elementary buildings in kindergarten. So as we're getting richer and better what we're doing, starting in kindergarten, it's only going to, I look at it as it challenges up on our high end. As these people get better at what they're doing with their teachers in kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, that puts us in the hot seat to continue to move on ours here. So as you talk about the skills, the 21 are the skills, okay? And you're right, they're learning them at the lower level in the younger grades, and then we can take and build on them as they move up to the high school. So I don't know if that answers your question, but yes, you're right. You gotta know some basic stuff before you can know the high level. And we're seeing the basic stuff. Me and Rachel working over at Evergreen, she's in the trenches right over there with the K-6 graders working on those things right in the elementary buildings.
I think one of the nice things too about this assessment that we're looking at through learning.com is it assesses them on the basics. Can they save a file, in a certain folder, something very basic, but the students need to know. But it also assesses them on those 21st century skills as well. Do they know how to critically analyze a website? And I think that's one of the reasons why we liked that assessment, is because it included the basics that we need to know, as well as those 21st century skills.
Well, the basics I'm talking about are math, reading, writing, things like that.
Well, I think
not so much, can you put it into a word processor? Can you, that's all tools. It's
right.
Other skills.
But I think the test scores, Paul, that I put up there, that shows that we are not going backwards. We're moving forward and we're staying up. And if I would put surrounding districts up, I know Mr. Yoke has showed you data with the surrounding districts. I mean, we match up, we're neck and neck and or above most in the area. And then, I always compare myself out to, the Sussex, Hamilton, some of the areas, and we're in the areas of those places, the Elmwood schools and things like that. And so, in answer to your question, our math, our reading, our writing, we're moving, we're working in that. And with Kathy on board this year, when we're getting the Common Core ready, the close reading and the informational text, I think we're moving in those directions. Absolutely.
One last question I have is, how are the batteries holding up? How has that been as far? I'm assuming you've had to put in extension cords or something.
We've had to, yes. We've had to have them charged, nature of the beast, but
Didn't want to do that.
We passed the fire inspection, inspection so we're good.
Do parents have access to the classrooms?
They do for their students. So when we do the parent information sessions, we tell them how they can have access to it. It's all through the student.
I attended one, I think it was last year before, and I think they have like 30 parents there, and so they can access, see what their students are doing daily and that. The parents are very impressed by it.
Any other questions?
No, I've got say the good stuff.
Just when
And again, very impressive.
I'm just ready to sit down now.
What you two have done is a great thing, considering where we came from.
Yes.
And where we are now is quite a leap. And we can see that by our open enrollment happening for our middle school. People coming from there, even the surrounding feeder schools in our school. So there's a lot of good things happening at Waterford grade, especially middle school. Very impressed by Jenny's micro DNA. Yes. And that's really the thing they're looking at, to see the interactive type things on the little that if you're keeping them little year to year, and it's easy to update and revise, that's a great thing. And that's kind of what we were getting at in the first place with all this. We can get rid of some textbooks, we have interactive Moodle, we can revise them to our needs, and that talk also leads into another one I had, the educator effectiveness coming down the line. If you've got the Moodle already, and you want to show how you modify things and what you're going to do for this year for your educator effectiveness, I think this is going to be a great tool for that also. And also, I think on the student side. So hopefully that'll make our educator effectiveness reviewing a little more seamless. Jim's flip class, that was pretty cool too. One thing that's going to be a big question is, and I keep hearing you bringing that one up, is when do we start looking at moving the 6th graders over to the middle school or something of that nature? I mean, obviously, what, 15 years ago was it, this district?
Years back.
Somewhere,
Somewhere.
did we move when we built 2 new schools?
13.
13 years? He's got a good memory.
I just remember because I keep.
Oh. I remember because we had approved modifying buildings for bigger and littler kids in some areas, but obviously I think one of the things we're going to have to look at, because the state and the federal government with Common Core and everything is going that way, is when do we start looking at moving the 6th graders back with the rest of the middle school? That might be a topic we need to bring up in the near future. And after all this is said, I think this last thing I have is, what are we looking at for a future tool on this? We need to have that discussion, because I know Paul's been looking at the Chromebook way, which I think for the cost of the Chromebooks versus these laptops, you can outfit 4th graders through 8th graders with Chromebooks for the price. I mean, they're so significantly lower cost. If everything we're doing is Moodle, and Moodle's happening okay on there, if our smart notebook application and our program will run on the Chromebooks. I think you checked that, didn't you?
Yes, we have a notebook. It now has an online resource.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it has the ability to do it through the web. So
Okay.
it's that is available. I've seen that some of the new Chromebooks now have touch screens on them, as opposed to the.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of going down the road because of Windows 8 kind of pushed that as well.
I'm wondering if you're looking at, everyone's getting used to smartphones that have the cameras built in, has microphones, radio, all sorts of things built into it. How many of those things would be needed for everything, right? I don't know.
Well, you're right. Those are questions we're going to have to talk about, and we're going to have to think about.
Yeah.
We haven't started doing that yet. Yes, we looked at the Chromebook and we think we got, but we've had some, casual conversations about it. But have we gotten the direction to move? And no, but as soon as you tell us to start looking, we will.
Well, I think we're going to have to I'd rather have something on a review or a renewal process instead of just getting hit all at once and saying, oh, by the way, we need $100,000, so we have to buy new tools. It'd be much better to say every year or two or something we're renewing an entire group of students.
I like that idea of a cycle. I really do. That's great thinking and helps us planning for both equipment replacement and budgeting. The piece I keep in front of you though is when we bought the current devices that are over at Fox River, the thought was, is they're good for another school year yet?
Oh yeah, I think that's
so
fine.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't want people walking out of here tonight thinking new devices for Fox River again next year. We've got some elementary things we've got to take care of first.
Yep, no, I agree with you 100%. I just want to get that out there so we can start discussing.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Okay, I think that's all for me. Again, very impressive.
Thank you. We'll email the stuff to you. I'll look for your email tomorrow for stuff to come, okay? Or tomorrow or Wednesday. So give me a day there, depending on what happens, all right? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all the middle school personnel that have helped with this.
Rachel, thank you.
All right, anybody, anything else on the tech committee? If nothing, motion to adjourn? Okay, we're adjourned on tech.